Good afternoon, everyone. So I've been doing some mowing and took a break. Went and got me a hard cider and gassed up the lawnmower with the last gas I had. It's going to smoke like the dickens because it's the last of the gas that I had for the chainsaws and weed eaters, the 2-cycle gas with the oil in it. So it's going to smoke on me, but it is what it is. I'm fixing new gas for everything, and I've got 4 cans in the truck to go with me to town tomorrow. But I kind of got this a little bit cleaner than what it was. I had cut some of the limbs the other day off of my mulberry tree, and this is the second year I haven't really gotten any mulberries off of it. There's a few up in here and there. There were a few on the limbs that I cut off. I had got that's a bag of the perlite that I've been getting, and it came a while ago, and I drug it back here and threw it there. Boy, everything's been looking dry. We're like 8 inches below normal rainfall this year, and we ended last year that way, and it didn't carry over into how much we were short. They just roll everything back and start over. When it cools down tonight and the sun goes down some, I sure got to get the water out here and wash all the dust off of my poor babies. Everything's rather dusty right now. I love the shiny leaves on my jackfruit, but they looking a little rough. I keep turning the avocado. I hope it'll straighten back up. I thought about putting a old tomato cage in the bottom of the pot whenever I planted it, but I didn't. And I've been trying to sort through all this junk and see what still has a living fig tree in it and what doesn't. And I think most of this over here is trash, and that's the only thing that's living is over here. And I lost all my peppermint that I can see. There's one sprig up at the house, and then there's some out in the road ditch, but I don't mess with it too much because it crosses with everything. But that's still 4 pots of spearmint there, and I'll get some more peppermint one day. I used to have a chocolate mint, but got to do something with these sweet potatoes. And I'd been moving the old pots that had the figs that everything had pretty much died in and nothing but weeds into the back of the greenhouse to let them dry out, and so that the weeds wouldn't keep growing in them, and maybe I can salvage the pots and some of the peat moss or potting soil in the bottom. And I had moved my walking onions over here the other day where I could water them and take care of them, and gradually I'm getting things back to organize. The moringa, I'm real tickled with it. I had just this morning, I had taken an old block of dried compost, worm compost, because it had worms in it, and I had rehydrated it, soaked it, and busted it up, and I put the soil moist, the little gel stuff in it, and that's what's in the barrels or in the pots there. I can't see any beans trying to set anywhere, but I've had a good many flowers come on them. And I'm not going to let them get too tall. I think before long I'll pinch the tips out and eat those and let them try to branch out some more. And part of my thinking there is that I'll have that shelf in there kind of shaded out and they won't blow over if I don't let them get so big. And like I said, I'm gradually getting there. I got this You can see the marks from the pots that have been setting out here, like those over there still, which those trays were here. Got to get in there and trim out the lemongrass and still mulberries more than I can eat. My neighbor came down the other day and she'd walk away and then turn around and come back and get another handful, and I thought she was going to clean them all up for me. Got to get the dog fennels and the poke salad out of the canis lilies over there. Diddy's going to sing about something, and Chloe's going to help her. Got some little buds coming on the papayas. This is the one that still had some on them. I had to cut the trunk off. It was so big I couldn't move it back out after I got it in there. But it had papayas on it all through the winter. And there's a few buds coming. I love the smell of the flowers, and so I'm very pleased with it. I've still got 2 of the old citrus trees. Don't know what they are anymore. I don't know if that one's going to try to come back or not. And this one, it's whatever the root was. And my pink moonflower vine has come up, and I've found some little ones, but there was another one over here somewhere, some more rootstock, and I had started scraping around this one, and I think it was just it's coming back from a root. It's not a seed, but I just cleaned this up by running over it with the mower, so there's seed all over the ground out here, but it's been so dry nothing can come up. It's one of them things I can't decide whether to take the zip line down or leave it up. My oak leaf hydrangeas are coming out and taking over. They are kind of an invasive deal. I got this up in here mowed a little. Had the ladder up there. I'd thought about building a platform years ago, but with the kids being different heights and everything, we just left it for a ladder instead of a platform that you had to put something on that they could knock over. And they were all able to manage it pretty well. I had noticed in here on the camellias that this one has always been pretty good about setting seed. Last year, I think it had to do with the late freeze we had that wiped out just about everything, and I didn't get any seed. I couldn't find one on any plant that I have, but this year this one has a good many on it, and it's a lot of them are where the late flowers were, is what's coming out as the seed now. And then I found this is the variety that has the peppermint on it, and it's a pretty good seed bearer. It has had so many seed on it one year that I joked about it being my ball bush, and picked a bunch of them off because of the fact that the bush was turning so yellow. But you can see even in the green center of that flower, that's going to be a seed pod like that one. And there may be some on some of the others. I walked around and tried to look some, and I've got to get out here. I did come the other day and cut some of the old running, what we call, wait a minute, vine, bamboo. But it has the vines, if you're familiar with it, has thorns. It has the little curly things. And it's still all up in here, and I need to get it out. It makes a big tumor down underground. I don't know what other, just hard as hell. My ex-pa-in-law had a couple of clubs that were carved out of the root of the wait a minute vine. FedEx guy, when he brought that box, locked my gate funny. About to think I was going to have to lay the camera down. I had noticed the other day that the yellow lantana is coming out and needs the trees cut out all this. And that American beautyberry bush there, I need it more than I really need the red tip. The oleanders are blooming, and the cedars are going to seed berries. And the pink oleander. I'd gotten out here the other day and checked. I had lemongrass. There were several clumps here and on down at my next mailbox and back over in this other side. And it was about half and half of the ones that was out here, about a 50% mix. Have plenty of wildflowers. I'd thought about mowing this today, but I think I'm going to let it go for a time being. We have no mail today so far. Don't know that she's run. And this is a clump of Mexican petunias here that has come back from before the road was ever paved. I had a ridge built all the way across my front to keep the water from running through there, and they cut my ridge out to make the road bed. But this is across my front, and years ago I had collected a great many of these seed and re-sowed them out here across the front. And I don't know where that pan came from. It's not one of mine, but I'm glad I spotted it today than in place of whenever I was doing the mower. And out here in the wild is my white honeysuckle. And I had rooted these years ago. And it's the last of it's a double blooming gold oleander. And I think they're gorgeous, and I keep saying I'm going to try to root some more of them, and I need to get off my butt and get out here and do it before it dies for some reason. And that's one of the reds. There's a big clump of reds right there on the corner, right there. And some more of the pinks. I had it red, white, and pink across the front, and then I had the gold mixed in. And this is the coral berry bush, or coral bean. I think it's bean instead of berry bush. And I never got it cut back this year, so these old canes you can see have some thorns like blackberries, briars, or whatever you want to call them. It was so dry last year too, they never set a bean. I still have a few beans from year before last. I don't know how long they're good, but I've never tried to grow any of them. I have seen them around. A number of where the big bush was, there'd be little ones sprouting. This was, the big clump here was one of the lemongrass that had some still living to it. A friend said her husband burns them, and I didn't try to do that or anything else because that's so close to a grapevine and my faucet. But I know a lot of people burn back the pampas grass and all, and the clump kind of looks like pampas grass. Those are the T. camellias. I have the 3 here and then another variety, and they're kind of looking yellow and poor and all that, because I guess it's probably because there hasn't been any rain and hasn't been watered. And I've got a few running roses on my back fences, but other than that, that's a little orange tea rose that keeps hanging in there. It ain't done nothing. I ought to dig it up and pot it and try to stimulate it some, but I just haven't done it and don't give a damn about roses that much. Blessings all.